Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone. Miss Natasha here. I hope you're doing well. I am the host of the Create Don't Hate Show, and I'm happy to see that you all are tuned in today. Our intention is to interview 10,000 plus people.
Woo!
Um, an insurmountable task, I know, but I am doing that deep dive in order to find out how do you decide to create instead of hate. I have a lovely queen here. I will before I introduce her, I would like to say three words that I think of when I asked uh, her to be on the show. One is resourceful. The second is resilient. And then the third, well, I say four, faith filled and community oriented. So they are phrases, but uh thank you so much for being here. And if you could please introduce yourself.
That one is always an interesting. Well, my name is Malaika. I go by many names. And I guess that opens up to the floor as to what I actually do. So I can start off by saying, I'm a creative contributor. I've done some writing, I've done some photography. And I've done a lot of peer support mentoring, and I've done some work with some charities and NGOs, but a lot of it has been around youth projects as well, grassroots soccer, and a lot more. And I think with many passions come many paths. And right now, currently, I'm in recovery, really. I some of my disabilities, various disabilities, have had such an impact on my memory, skill regression. So currently, right now, I am unemployed, but I'm doing and how would I say it? Not doing. I am currently trying to build community online and offline through a platform that I hope people will come to know called Clarity. So a hub with so many things, creative healing, connection, support, and resources. But again, everything is being built up while I'm in rehabilitation as well. So yeah, it's sometimes very hard to say, what do you actually do? And sometimes I'm like, it can't just be living, but I am.
Mm.
So I start there.
Creatively living.
Creatively healing.
Okay. And I'm going to get into and again, even I don't see you. Okay, we know there are struggles, but
Yeah.
through struggles, we persevere.
Mm,
So with these couple questions, it's more about how you got to where you are now as opposed to a title.
yeah, that's the thing. I think most of us, status and socially,
Right.
want to say, this is Miss Natasha. She does this.
Right.
And that always feels restrictive for many people. But I understand that people need to like kind of place you somewhere in some degree. But what about those that you can't easily place?
Hmm.
So it's been something that I'm just trying to come to peace with, to be honest, and seeing how that evolves. Mm.
You are building your own table
Uh,
whilst going through
mm,
rehabilitation
mm.
and healing. So it's like that's why you're here.
Ah,
You're creating instead of hating,
literally, and I'm not
right?
doing it alone. I can't build the table alone.
Mhm.
I cannot, so
So
thank you for saying that.
in saying that, did the industry you or didn't choose you, or did you choose the industry?
Ooh, now which one? I would say when it came to like sports when I was younger and dancing, that one I chose.
Mm.
That one I chose. That was a is still a big passion of mine, but I guess so much has changed since then. When it comes to the writing, I started quite young. Um, I would like to say it chose me, um, because it's something that just flowed, but I had a lot of confidence issues from young. I didn't think what I had to say matters, basically. So I kind of just tucked it away. But when people coming to me with thoughts and ideas, I was like, oh, and I would give them feedback and they're like, you need to contribute to this. You need to do this. And had a lot of self-esteem issues around like grammar and typos and all of that stuff. And obviously, the different people around you probably not supporting you or recognizing you need help in in certain departments, really. So it's a bit of I chose it, but it came and found me over and over again in different circles. And then because how can I say it? Because of the connections that I've made in my life, I'm quite transparent and open about my different health. I don't even just say difficulties, but different health circumstances. And because of that, I'm connected to some people who are not very open about theirs. So being like a ghost contributor was something that I chose. Um, and yeah, out of protection for them, but and also myself. Now going back to it, it's been a bit hard. So right now, I feel like I'm actively choosing it, even
Mm,
though it's much harder than it was before. Yeah.
rewarding work, rewarding work. Did you get a college or university degree for your current position?
No, no, no. There's a history with that. I spent about 12 years trying to complete college, uni. I went to do psychology, I went to do health and social care, I did a bit of accounting at one point, I did a bit of drama, I did a bit, I did, yeah. They talk about jack of all trades. I was like, I want to master a few things.
Mhm,
But every step of the way, I didn't realize I had struggle in the education system. I was just like, I gotta complete, and trying to prove that. But most of my qualifications, even when I worked with UNICEF and other things, I didn't have what's known as the bachelor's, the postgraduates, the masters. All I don't have any of those. I did study BSL for a bit, and then I got a few certificates, but to say I've got a degree in like creative writing or English or film cinematography, nope. I'm thinking about going back if things get better for me, when
mhm,
they get better for me and more
mhm,
stable. But yeah, I didn't, and I've met many people who haven't, and in some way it can be helpful, but in other ways it's just for many of us it's not accessible. So
mhm.
yeah.
Thank you for that. And you've like done so many great things that you should be getting honorary. You know?
Hmm.
Okay. What skills, what are the skills you would use the least in your field?
Oh, I thought about this earlier, and I guess this goes back to my comprehension of language as well. Because when I think about skills, I'm thinking about tactile, like hands. My mind immediately goes to hands. So I come from a very creative background in terms of my mom also is like a carpenter by trade. So those, for example, I love interior designing. I like building things, and those skills I didn't really get to expand upon. But when it came to like maybe events or designing or creating stuff, I wish I could have brought that more into the other field of stuff. Now, for example, dancing and coaching football and things like that. When I look at everything that I've done so far, I think the people skills, the way that I relate to people and hold space or just try to communicate, in my mind, it sounds so like and I struggle to find the words as well. So my vocabulary kind of goes in and out. So hope it makes sense. But it's my listening skills has always been something that I've appreciated. And then I have to go back to the question. You see what I mean? It's like my
Oh,
brain just goes all in and out. You said the skills that I wish I'd taken,
you
or
you know the skills that you use with the least,
oh, the least.
the least.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm probably trying to say. My hands.
Mm, mm-hmm.
I struggle with, for example, writing, like holding a pen in my hand sometimes and going for it. So this is where technology comes in. But being able to use my hands in such a physical way is a skill that I feel like I've not been able to exercise as much. But then I kind of go into the listening skills because of everything that's happened. Even though that used to be a very strong suit, I feel that it's not as strong as it used to be. I don't know if
Mhm.
that makes any sense.
It
Good at
does.
holding space, but I'm also noticing, hmm, I've also realized I've got a lot to say, so that can kind of clash and it may come across like I'm not listening, but I'm listening.
Mhm.
There's just so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I thought about that question earlier and I was like, man, um, yeah, I think with skill regression, the analytical side of thinking, just my literacy skills are not there as they
Hmm.
used to be, and that can be, yeah, it can be hard.
It is hard. I can understand what you mean because I didn't even know what that word meant a couple years ago.
Mm,
Skills regression. But
mm,
yet I understood its thought, like the meaning, because I'm forgetting how to do certain things, or my brain is regressing to a certain age
yeah.
with a certain particular thing,
Mm,
and it's like, wait a second, what's happening?
yeah.
So I understand that. Oh, okay,
Oof.
okay. So I'll keep it going.
Okay.
What do you do to demonstrate that you're grateful?
Oh, huh. Where do I start?
Exactly.
I am constantly telling people just how much I appreciate them. I think to the
Mhm.
point where people are just like, "Ah, is she not even love bombing?" I wouldn't say like love bomb. I've learnt that social cue. Don't like overly say that. But I'm constantly trying to let people know what they mean to me in their existence in my life and in the world. What
Mhm.
I appreciate about them. I think just that I love encouraging people. And me encouraging is me showing like I am grateful for you. So there's a running joke with some of my friends in different circles where you're always saying thank you. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, like I'll get the oh, thank you for your time. I think I've done it a few times with you. So oh, thank you for
Mhm.
your time. I really appreciate your time and just expressing that gratitude. That's on that level that I know instinctively this is what I do. But I think it's also you know how it's easier to maybe support or give advice to somebody than it is to give it to yourself?
Mhm.
Guilty,
Mhm.
very guilty, very quick to want to either provide solution or give back. That's the thing. My gratitude comes in another form where it's like, okay, where can I give you the balance? And just time. But if it's okay to mention faith as well.
Mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
um, Even though my prayer life has been up and down, it's been one place where I know grounded. I'm like, my
Mhm.
God, thank you for this day.
Mhm.
Thank you for waking me up and having the ability to speak and pray. Like
Mhm.
for me, that's yeah, and just I don't know, I just love
Mhm.
expressing love, showing love, and just it could be something small like you know when you make these phone calls and or you meet people and you're just like maybe you're not feeling the greatest, but you just
Mhm.
smile to the person, hey, have a nice day. Like just being kind. For
Mhm.
me, being able to show gratitude in that way is easy. It's so easy to just be kind, like to show that in how I'm my actions, basically. Ah, I could say so much, but yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and just and I honestly, um, even thinking about mental health, choosing to still be here every day is like a constant way of me going, okay, I'm grateful for this life, even though today is very, very hard, or I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. I'm choose to be here. So that's very hard if you're dealing with certain mental health struggles as well. So that's how I kind of show up being grateful
Hmm.
for what I do have. Recognizing the privilege.
Yes, yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
Great.
long-winded, but yeah.
Yeah. In your opinion, how does one become great?
Ooh. Ha. First of all, I honestly think there's a belief aspect. You can't be something if you don't believe that you can be that.
Mm.
And then with that belief, it's going back to identity where it's like, actually, do I even know I'm capable to be great?
Wow.
I'm saying this to you, but it's a constant conversation I'm having with myself where I'm just like, all right, go and talk to God about this because this imposter syndrome is beating your back behind.
Wow.
You know, and it's also how do we define greatness? That's another thing. So I think now, how I see it in this current state, in this particular part of myself, I just, I would like to believe that we're living out our purpose in some way or form,
Hmm.
and other people are benefiting from that overflow. It might be something so small. Well, you know when people give you a comment, like, oh, that's a very kind thing, or that was great what that memory, creating those memories together. So I don't know if I could label like, oh yeah, I'm stepping into my greatness or something, but I would say yeah, stepping in there's a type of energy or power. I don't know what the right word is to use right now, but there's something about really believing who you are called to be. And I think that's really hard if yeah, you don't have a sense of who you are. So I think that's it. If you have a sense of who you are and it aligns with what you think you're meant to do here, and you're trying to make those active steps, no matter how small, in that direction.
Thank you for that. Being attuned to the calling of what you're good at.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
then you can hear others call through your own calling.
yeah.
You can hear another's need through your own calling.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
But the other side of it is also being sensitive to those around you as well. I think there's so much focus on me, individual, individual, but
Mm.
there's something about recognizing that in your community, the people around you, they're also great in their own way. They may not realize it yet, or they might not have stepped into a certain aspect of it, but yeah, encourage, nudge that person. Hey, you're great, you know. You're
That's all like I felt like a nudger.
Mm, mm. Like,
You
let me
know, true
prompt
enough,
you.
I was a
Yeah.
nudger. The only thing with that was not telling people the things they need to hear when they need
Mm,
to hear it.
mm.
And then so I learned that the hard way that some things you have to say as you see it
Yeah.
and nip it in the bud so then it doesn't
Nip it in the
happen
butt. Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So yeah. In saying that, I will ask this question. What have you done for yourself in the last month?
Oh, I did think about this earlier. It's a bit of a raw one, so I want to see how far I can actually go with it. And I'm probably going to be emotional because you know what this means to me anyway. There's certain habits that I had been struggling with, and I finally came to a decision where I was like, oh, this is not just it's not a comfort thing no more. This actually is for me to step into more of. where I'm supposed to be. And I think that's been a highlight for me this past few weeks already.
Mhm.
On a very practical level, just saying, okay, you talk quite a bit about uh, giving back what you give others to yourself. So if you can recognize something is not serving you anymore, how do we get back to the grounding of you? So that's something that I think for me I've done and still doing on a practical level, just saying, oh, this is actually for me and this is not a punishment. I'm not, I shouldn't hold shame around it. So working around that bit of just, yeah, accepting the grace, really. That's something that on a practical level. But if I was just thinking on a surface level, let me
Mhm.
think. Um, I bought paint. I'm supposed to be painting the house, and I finally decided on a color that's the same color as my book cover that I'm working on. And I don't know what it was. There was something about it that just was like, oh, this is for me, kind of.
Mhm.
But I'm allowed to do that. It sounds so silly, innit? Like I was just picking a color of a paint, getting the paint, going to the
Yes.
shop, going with my brother, going, rewiring transport. Just, I'm going to get paint. Like that was.
Yeah. But look, it sounds so wonderful, so simple, but it's wonderful.
Mm.
You're getting a chance to spend time. You're choosing the type of look you want your own home to look like.
Yeah.
And it's like, why not?
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be nails or a hairdo or spa.
Mm.
Sometimes it does have to be nails, a hairdo, or a spa.
Oh yeah, yeah. Got my
And then
nails
other
done too.
times it's just picking paint or maybe going to the dollar store,
Honestly.
you know,
Yeah.
going to go to the grocery store and shop for some items that you're gonna make a specific dish for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people are remembering what someone else's breakfast or lunch or dinner menu is and forgetting
Mm.
what they love. So I
That's
always
it.
ask that question to see how people treat themselves because I need to learn. I'm not very good at it.
I'm still learning. So
So yeah.
I think the more you hear, because sometimes you ask a question and then maybe, I don't know how it works with you. You ask a question and you go back and you reflect in yourself. It's like, oh, I might take a bit of this, I might take a bit of that and tweak it up a little bit or something. Like I remember when we were talking before, and every now and again I see you get your nails done. I'm like, oh, this is a new set. Like, and
Oh,
then I was like, oh, I don't do them a lot. Let me go and do that. And it felt
oh,
nice.
see?
Do you
No,
know what
that's
I mean?
something that's
So,
a non-negotiable for me. And there have been times where I did sacrifice
mm-hmm.
for the other things that I needed.
Yeah.
And there are times I bite my nails. So it's just a
Mm,
way to avoid that at all costs.
that's so,
Or I
yeah.
used to, and it just stuck. That's one thing like I don't know. It's one of those things I guess a self-care
Yeah,
um uh,
I would say for
tactic,
sure.
but
I would say.
I am still learning, especially to be honest, how I speak to myself
Mm.
and
Oh, yeah.
repeating things that others have said about me or to me
Mm.
to myself. And I don't
Mm.
need to be doing that.
Mm.
I need to be speaking as kindly as I do to
Yeah,
other people
yeah,
to myself.
yeah, yeah.
And if any of you are listening out there, this is an analogy that I received from someone else a couple years ago. When you're combing a baby's hair, you're not rough,
Mm.
right? You're gonna brush their hair nice and soft. So it's the same with you and your own hair and your own heart and your own mind. You're gonna be delicate and kind because it's necessary for your survival.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Oh,
mhm. Okay.
it is. It is. It got me thinking so many things. I was like, oh yeah, I did get my hair done last month. I had this month, didn't I? But
There
no,
are a lot of
it's
things. Yeah.
important. It's important.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah.
We could forget and keep, someone said this on another interview, like pouring, you're not pouring in yourself, and then you're like so angry and so disgruntled,
Yeah.
then people, no one wants to be around you, you don't even want to be around you know so it's
But
like you want to have
that's
that balance through
yeah.
whatever avenue, if it's
Yeah.
going to church, if it's making sure you drink water every day, if it's I don't know, petting the cat or the dog, something. It's what you need.
Mm. Well, I think the being able to be in touch with I don't know if it's like the word is gone. See what happens. But no, I'm hearing everything you're saying that it was just sending me into another place where I was just
Mm,
like, yeah, yeah.
mm,
Because that's where the encouraging side comes from for most of us. Very easy to encourage somebody else. But
yeah,
how do we do that for
for
ourselves?
ourselves. Okay, and in saying that,
Mm.
and you did answer this question, but I do still want to answer because maybe you have more. Do you have meaningful relationships, and how do you nourish them?
Ooh, yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm grateful that I do have good relationships with my closest circle now. You used to be somebody that I know too many people, and that was very easily sorry, it was very easy for me to call everybody my friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had oh man, I had to learn the hardest ways, not even just way, over and over and over. And it's not to say I'm still not learning it, but there's something
Mm-hmm.
that's changed now where I'm like, actually, how I nurture them now is a bit more different because I'm showing up more as my full self.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I've done that, the more that they've kind of just filtered their way out. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're not going to be necessarily in the same place as somebody else, and that's just life. It's how you move alongside one another, and not everybody you can take with you. That's still something that I struggle to accept sometimes because I'm like, but I see you,
Mm-hmm.
and I know there's something to you as a person, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to leave you there. I want to leave people better than I found them or they found me. So in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, I'm like, how do I just detach from this person when my heart's so in it with them? I had to come back and be like, wait, actually, this friendship, this connection, rather than thinking, what do they do to benefit me? I'm also like, how am I showing up for them?
Mm-hmm.
How is their communication? How do they feel um, when maybe I've upset them? When I
Mm-hmm.
have upset them, are they able to, or do they even have the capacity to communicate? So conflict resolution, what does that look like? Not everybody has um, certain experiences to go on to know how to navigate stuff, and then not everybody has developed that type of, I don't want to just call it emotional maturity because I feel like that's forever growing with
Mm-hmm.
people. Now, I'd say the way I nurture my conversations and friendships with people is I just want things to be open and transparent. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't got the energy or the bandwidth to be guessing or assuming or reading into things in a way that I'm going to get it wrong because I'm not in your head.
Yes.
I would love to know that people feel safe and comfortable to tell me stuff. And it's not always been that case because I'm reading and then assuming before they've said anything. So now I've made up my own, oh, this is how they really feel because this is what
Mm-hmm.
they've done. but I'm filling in the gaps. Then now I don't have to fill in the gaps as much because my circle's a lot more. MK, you said something that didn't quite add up. Can we have a talk about it? Yeah. Yeah, like before, you would have the oh, she said this, oh, she said that. And no one coming to talk to me, and I'm like, man, bring everybody in front and let us talk. If I've lied, if I've said something out of place, you should know that I would want to talk about it. But that distorts my timeline. Because now I'm like, man, did I really lie and not be even aware of it? And you couldn't tell me as my friend? To me, I learned that nurturing friendships with that attitude in mind, not everybody was on the same page.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, she's trying to intellectualize the situation. I'm like, well, I have nothing else to go on because,
When
you
you said
know,
that voice.
so it is that transparency. It's also the balance that I'm constantly, I can't even say manifesting, constantly believing that I can have in my friendships.
Hmm.
And some things are uncomfortable, like, but if I can show up and they can show up in that uncomfortable space together, that to me is nurturing because now we're here. We're looking at each other like this. Do you know what I mean? It's just seeing each other truly and not relying on the past versions of ourselves to make up whatever we think is going on. So I
Thank you for
go
that.
into so many pockets of conversation about friendships, but nurturing it, I think it's just if love is supposed to be love, then I want to show it, I want to be it, and I want to see it.
Practically applied.
Yeah.
All right. How do you navigate hope?
Oh, child, that one you already know I've been struggling with that one. Um, it's so many different folds. I'll start off with a lot of people have seen me go through a lot of things from when I was younger or maybe aware of it. And one of the things that I was known for was Malika, she always bounces back. You're so hopeful. You're so this. And I think I put it down to faith. But when my faith wasn't there, I still had to go, well, so where did the hope come from? Like on a real humanistic level, if you didn't believe in faith or these different beliefs, where does the hope come from? And I honestly believe there's something that's been given to us in like inside our own spirit being. Like there's this tether of not just possibility, but reality rewired. So rewiring has been the way that I navigate hope. And people say, "Oh, what's rewiring?" I'm like, I'm reframing. I'm reintroducing a healthier version of maybe what fear looks like, what loss looks like, what grief, all of this stuff. So I think the mindset, people talk about the mindset a lot, and I don't want to just be another person who says, oh, yeah, it's all in the mind. No, some of it's actually not. Some of it's in our environment. So once I started to notice the things in some of my environments were not bringing me hope, but reducing it for me, it took me a while. It's still taking me a bit of time to remove some things that I'm like, this is the thing that's sucking hope out of me. And I think it's my attention to some of those things. That's how I've been navigating it, just being a lot more switched on when I can be, of course.
Mhm.
And just asking for that focus and understanding around not just why am I still here, or yeah, recognizing um the privileges that we've been given and just believing that I know there's a reason behind everything else. I'm not always going to get the answer,
Mm.
but just knowing that there is a cause for everything and there's an effect, and I just want to be on this side of history. So, yeah, just believing in a bigger picture because I know that it's just bigger. It's everything is bigger than ourselves. And to know that, even on your darkest days, I'm like, the light has to come at some point.
Nice.
And it can take a while. But faith is a huge part, of course, and some people talk about it as a crutch. And you know what? I don't know how to say this, but I'm just gonna say it. So what if it is a crutch for some people?
Hmm.
Crutch you can now break down into something else, but I'm like, this is an essential part of my life that is not
Yeah.
just an
Like
aid.
breath. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just an aid. It's not just a lifestyle. It's a very action of being. I'm like, man, this just is not just science. It's there's something else
Mm.
there, and that helps me navigate things even on on the
Thank
lowest
you.
of days.
I
You already
hope y'all
know.
are listening out there. Okay, lastly, how do you create instead of hate?
I touched on some of it already.
Mm-hmm.
Rewiring, creatively rewiring.
Mm-hmm.
And like earlier today when I was starting to feel a little bit upset, I was like, if I don't get too in my head, what I do is I kind of go into the space of, okay, there's this emotion. I could be really upset, but I'm understanding. But I'm still upset. So I'm recognizing how I'm feeling about something. Because if you look at the word hate, what it actually means when you break it down, the different emotions that it invokes, there could be anger, there could be frustration. So now that we've got the language around the hate and all of this stuff, my brain is naturally like, well, we need to now shift this
Mm-hmm.
to the other side because hate can't just exist on its own. It's the opposite of something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're able to, you focus on the something else. So um not just prayer, not just like creative arts or journaling or and whatnot, but I've noticed one of the things that I draw to the most, other than not just the spiritual side of stuff, is I love to take a picture of or literally almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that moment I get to be present and not necessarily just a distraction, but I get to be present and look at something from a different eye view.
Mm-hmm.
So if some of those, and I'm not someone that easily hates things, I would dislike something. So I even wanted to say to you, yeah, I was like, oh, well, what if you create instead of disliking, like, because I don't like the word hate. I feel like it's such a strong word, but it's
Yeah.
a very valid feeling. It's a very, um, well, considering where it's, directed to. But the question is so late. I've been thinking, I know she's gonna ask me this. And I think choosing to be not just a version of yourself that you could be proud of in regards to how you show up in the world, but actually the peace side of it,
Yes.
the grounding that you get when you're deciding, actually, I'm not gonna behave or choose to hold this emotion. What can I do to not just alchemize it, but how do I pave this forward outside of my body? I got to start here first, obviously. But something beautiful can be birthed from an ugly place. And I believe that. So I'm just like, right, I'm a bit upset, but I'm understanding. But
Mm-hmm.
let's show up, do this interview, speak well, and just hope the other person as well. And also yourself, because we do think about other people more than ourselves most of the time. And I think it's just coming back to center. I think that's what it helps you to take away like a certain anguish, a certain pain or disappointment and just come back to you and be like, okay, either a boundary was crossed or something was happening, but check in with yourself. And creating is one of the best ways you can do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Malaika. Thank you, thank you.
Um,
I just feel like we could go on this for a long time and just add on to the questions and add on to the questions, bring more people in and
listen,
out, bring more people in and out.
listen.
It could just be a whole flex, like,
But this is what I'm saying.
but
I'm putting my hat and I'm putting my glasses in the ring. I don't think this will be the only time you talk about this because
No.
you're interviewing me at what feels like the beginning of a new stage in my life.
Hmm.
And I don't know where things are necessarily going to go, but I have an idea where you're going. So I'm just like,
Oh, thank you. Because I was gonna say the same for you. Like you go, you like it's gonna be like amazing, amazing.
said it.
If it wasn't already, it's gonna be even more amazing.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know, and it's because of the work you're doing through hard times, the faith you're having through hard times.
mm,
The small steps make big moves.
yeah.
And
And
then
you,
when you're able
you,
to gain access to more people to make more bigger moves, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be plopped right there because your faith was, yes, if it wavered, it wasn't eliminated, you
absolutely.
know?
And I don't know, one thing, many things I'd probably either said or want to say right now is it's yourself. When we connected, I was like, I tend to have foresight about some things, but I was like, she calls herself Miss Natasha Connects. Oh, she gets it.
Mm.
She get like, and seeing how that's evolved and every step of the way, what you've done, even when I've just been looking on, I'm like, man, she doesn't even know that unconsciously you're mentoring me by showing me I'm doing the bit by bit by bit. And the rooms you've stepped into, the rooms that are speaking of your name that you don't even know of yet. You're putting the words, you're putting the action, you're putting the time in. And that shows that it is possible for some people for sure. And so being able to connect with the different people you have been meeting, the opportunities that you're opening up for not just yourself and them. Ah, there's this,
I can't wait.
do you know what I mean? So just thank you for just being you and showing up. I know it's not been easy at all.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. But I guess I would like to ask you,
Hmm.
creating and don't hate.
Hmm.
Why?
Um, to build resilience in others, because
Mm,
when I watched other people talk about their own triumphs and their own struggles, it helped me do the same.
yeah.
And then also too, to build
Ugh,
autonomy for myself
yes.
and also for others. Again, because well, you may not know I have disabilities or struggles with things.
Mm,
I want others to know that they still matter
mm,
regardless. You still try regardless. You still do regardless. And also, creating is so much better than hating.
oh, what do you mean?
That's the plain end of it. A lot of people hated, and didn't even once create. And once if they did, they wouldn't hate. So it's
But it's
like I
it.
just like that's where I'm stepping into, and I will always be. I'm living there. I'm living in Create Don't Hate land. Like
And
that's where I'm living.
it's a land that many of us are enjoying right now. So
Like I have this stickers I made create,
mm,
and it's just because I want to remember to always do that. Create
mm,
memories, create
yep.
good
Mm,
encounters,
mm,
create hope and love and gratefulness.
yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to say how why I just decided to start the Create Don't Hate show, and then ask if you can leave us with any words of encouragement and also how people can reach you. Okay.
Mm,
Create Don't Hate was born out of frustration. The frustration of individuals hating on other individuals with differences. I wanted to encourage a movement of hope, courage, and love and build community and connection in the process. Create Don't Hate is a real practical way of encouraging hope to those who have been muted and shut down just because of who they are. Create Don't Hate was and always will be an anthem that I would play to get through the tough times. I'm Miss Natasha Connects of the Create Don't Hate Show, and I hope you all are doing well, and I thank you all for watching. Malika, if you can please give us any words of encouragement that you'd like to share before we go.
Oh my gosh, I was just trying to look for this quote, yeah. And it was basically fear is courage waiting to become known. And that's you could take that in so many ways, but it was from this lady called I Understood, amazing lady. And she talks about the fear of being seen and in regards to visibility and watching you do what you do. And you know what I'm gonna say, doing it afraid. You've
Yeah.
been doing that. And I have not seen the afraid aspect in maybe where you started before, where it was just like, wait, what's going on? You've pushed through that courage because
Yeah.
you knew there was things that needed to be known. What do you mean, create, don't hate? I want to know a bit more about that. And when people know a bit more about that, they don't necessarily know the journey that you've had to go through to be visible, to find your autonomy, to build your autonomy, and then give that back to other people. And when I heard that quote, it really just stuck with me. So I knew when I was doing this, I was like, this is something I want to share and pass on. Um, Thanks to obviously, and yeah, just there's something else on the other side of fear that I'm also navigating.
Mhm.
Um, and there are many things that we are passionate about. There are many things that we want to do and see in the world. And it's very real that we also have to kind of not just step out of our comfort zone, but really believe in not just the dream or the goal or the initiatives that we want to do, but we believe that they have a place in this world and that they should be known. Not known in terms of, oh, I want to be famous or I want my names out there, but no, truth needs to be heard, truth needs to be seen, and people need to be seen. So you giving people this platform, you're being seen, not just myself or other people being seen, but truth is being heard. And even when there's fear involved, the fear doesn't stay. It likes to deceive us. But just knowing that the courage side of it, fear is just like it feels like
Mhm.
this. But it's really just those beginning stages of courage where it's just like, right, may
Mhm.
not have it all together yet, but this has to be known. I believe this is what the world needs, and having our part to play in making sure it's as balanced as possible. So I just want to say thank you for giving me, I think over the past few years, some of my voice back,
Mm.
and holding space when I am fearful and all over the place and sorting out the many things I need to sort out. Um, that shared courage I will always be grateful for. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. There you have it. Please share, like, and subscribe. And we hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. See you later.
Oh.